Okay, welcome everybody. It's Wednesday night, and are you ready to unlock your $1,000,000 mindset? And, it's interesting. We obviously, we had to switch from Thursdays to Wednesday because of Zango's new calls every Thursday night. And we don't want to miss those weekly webinar trainings on Thursday night at 6 o'clock. So that's why we've now moved our call from Thursdays to Wednesdays. And this is really about sharing with you that you have the possibility to unlock that millionaire mindset. Everyone is born with that millionaire gene, and our job is to help release it. So for those of you who may be new, or maybe a guest, let me introduce myself. My name is Sandi Cohen, and I'm married to my childhood sweetheart, probably more years than most of you are old, and Ed's a retired pharmacist. And when we came into Zango, which is now 12 years ago, we were financially devastated as a result of a legal battle from businesses that we sold to buyers that defaulted. So from having the lifestyle truly of the rich and famous, we were financially devastated and spent 8 years in litigation in court in Philadelphia. And even though we won in court, the company was already out of business by the time the lawsuit settled. And instead of getting millions of dollars, the settlement was really, really small. So we were dead right, dead broke, and over $450,000 in debt at the age of 52. So let me ask you this. What would you do if you were 52 years old and $450,000 in debt? Other than, wake up crying and go to bed crying. And Zango has given us our life back by helping other people. And it's interesting that just recently, we now have a theme song, and it's called "Say Yes to Success." And I have not tried this on Meeting Burner yet, but hopefully this will soon be in the new Zango University that should be launching in about 6 weeks. But I'm going to play this song for you, and in the chat box, if you could tell me that you not only can see the words, but you can hear the music as well. Okay, so I'll go to an Apple class this Friday and try to see if, in fact, we can get the words on the screen as well as the volume into Meeting Burner. There may not be a way to do that, but I was so excited when I found this song, Say Yes to Success. I've got a millionaire mind, and I definitely, for those who would like it, in fact, I've already put it into our Facebook group. But I want you to believe from the bottom of your heart every day when you get up. Now, how little Jessica in front of the mirror says, I like myself, I like myself, I like my mommy and daddy, I love my house, I love my haircut. You've got to say, I've got a millionaire mind, and I say yes to success. I've got a millionaire mind, and I say yes to success. And tonight before I go to bed, I promise that I will put just those words into our Facebook group. So now let's move on to my first good friend, Joaria. And Joe's going to share with us a little bit about what impressed her the most about this session this month with Brian Tracy. And I have to tell you, if you're not subscribing to his newsletters and his content, you're really missing something, as well as all his other audios. But Joe was born in Brooklyn, New York. Maybe that's why we get along so well, because we have that East Coast connection. But she grew up in Alabama with a very large family, 9 brothers and sisters. And of course, she's also married to her best friend, David, and they have 2 great kids. And pretty smart lady. She's got a bachelor's in psychology. And what's interesting, you'll find all the people that are attracted to Zango are really special. And when she was practicing as a psychologist, she really became disillusioned about the treatment of the people that they were to protect. And she worked in customer service for a checking company and became a manager within a year. So very action-oriented until that particular company closed. And it's interesting what she and David do is that, somebody is saying, oh my goodness, that's why I forgot to start the sharing. Thank you, Michaela. Oh my goodness, that's why you couldn't see the words before. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize I didn't start the screen sharing tool. Okay, you should see it now. So Joe got her CLD license, and I can't remember what that stands for. So Joe, you'll have to clarify that for me so I can remember for the next time. And she's been actually on the road with her husband as a truck driver now for 9 years. So guess what her why is? Her why is to get off that darn road. Right, Jen?
Yes.
For sure.
For sure.
We're going to work on that this year for sure.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Yeah. So I know you're embracing all of this personal and professional growth. And share with us, in Brian's Mastery Series, the Quantum Leaps, what was it that got you impressed this week?
I was really surprised when he said that introverts make better salesmen. I think we grow up thinking that if we got the gift of gab, we can talk anyone into anything. And hearing that, I was like, okay, wait a minute. So the shy person that, was in my classroom that really didn't want to speak up, that didn't seem like they were to do all that well, is the kind of person that I should be looking for because they make the best salespeople. They listen. They're not running their mouths. They're actually listening and caring about what the other person wants, and they're trying to service that person. So I thought that was very interesting. Can you still hear me? I'm not sure. I'm traveling.
Oh, you're good to go. I got myself
okay.
There's no distraction back down there. We got company for dinner as well.
Okay. And the other thing he mentioned was about being your authentic self, which I've heard that more than once. Lisa Nichols also makes a point of that. And years ago, I never understood when people say, I got to find myself. And I'm like, you're with yourself, so I don't know why you got to find yourself. You should know who you are. But I think through maturity and experience, we start to learn more about who and what we want to be. And I think that's also that comes through when we believe in the products, which we all do. We love these products. I can't live without them. And when we, just share what we're experiencing, that authenticity, that our own experience that comes through when we're talking to people. Again, he mentioned about people buy based on benefits, not on the product. I think that sounds familiar for some of us with Michael Oliver, which is very, very true. You know, everybody wants to know what's in it for me, not so much, you know, necessarily, oh, this is just a product. They want to know, okay, how is this going to benefit me personally? What is this going to do for me? That is what everyone is looking for. The other thing he pointed out is, it kind of made me laugh. Brian makes me laugh quite a bit. My husband even laughs at some of the things he says. He was talking about the sleazy car salesman kind of thing, and no one wants to be sold to or talked to in that kind of manner. That doesn't work. You know, that kind of, you know, he called jiu-jitsu or judo kind of sales where you hurry up and ask a question and lock them in and you try to ram it down the person's throat. I'm sure we've all experienced that. And we usually walk away feeling like we've been gypped or feel a little sour about the experience, or we think to ourselves, oh, I'm not coming back here again. You know, we might have even purchased something, but we don't feel good about it. You know, we're like, okay, that's it. They got a little bit of my money, but they're not going to get any more of my money from me. So that is not the kind of sales that we do anymore. What we do now is what's modern day sales. And women, in particular, have this kind of natural thing in regards to modern sales, is how we interact. We listen with care. We do this. We build relationships. This is the kind of sales now that we're geared to do, and this is what works. This is what people feel good about. And we also want people to know that we want a long-term relationship. And he said we should let them understand that because we care about them. We want them to be happy. We want them to be satisfied. If they have questions, we want to be open to that. You know, if you have questions, concerns, or anything, I'm here for you. Let me know. How can I make this work for you? So that's a really, I love that. The other thing he's talked about, you know, paraphrasing what I hear you saying, because we want to make sure that we're understanding what that person is communicating, their needs, concerns, or wants are, so that we can service them better. And that made me think again about Michael Oliver. You know, he's like all the greats, all the, you know, truth doesn't change. So regardless of who's saying it, they may paraphrase it, they may box it up differently, but it remains the same thing, right? The other thing he talked about, well, it may take more than one call, and we know this. It may take more than one contact to, you know, really get to what the person wants or to set them up with the product that best fits them. And and this also, how we interact with the customer, with building relationship, listening carefully to them, and just trying to service them. This builds confidence and trust in us and with the company, because we represent the company when we're talking, interacting with them, because they don't know anything about Zango. All they know is what we're telling them. And so, you know, however we interact with them, however we act, that is what they understand Zango to be. And then we can go into price. You know, price is last. It's not that big of a deal. And, you know, one thing I love is Sandi cracks me up, you know, what she would do on a three-way call or, you know, speaking with someone. She's like, I'm not trying to get your credit card. Her point is she's always trying to find out what is it that you want and how can we help you meet that goal or have that. And it's so true. We're not in the business of just snatching credit cards and charging and, you know, trying to pile up products. We want people to enjoy the product, use the products, live with these products, and these products are so fabulous. And we want them to feel what we're feeling, you know, enjoy it like we're enjoying it, you know. So that's, you know, that's what it's about. And then he talks about follow-up, and we all know that's the big gimme, right? We have to follow up. We have to follow them. I've fallen down on that from time to time. But that's it. We've got to follow up. The other thing that I found juicy, I mean, it was a nice little juicy jewel in this whole thing, was he was talking about the golden chain and getting referrals from people that we may not even get an order from. They may not want to do business with us, but they like us. They like us, and this is important. This is why we've got to have this rapport when we're talking to people. We've got to be listening and showing that we care. It's because if they like us, and then they might like the company because we represent it, right? They may not want or feel like they need what we have right now, right? But just because they like us, they may refer us just to someone else, just because. Oh, I like you. I think, or we give them a sample. They think, oh, well, I don't really want to use this, but it's nice. But I'll refer you to someone that I know for sure needs that Limitless, or I know for sure needs this Ignite, or that juice that you have. That is what I thought was like, wow, this is juicy stuff. Okay, so maybe that person doesn't really want to do business with you, but they like you enough just to make a referral. And I loved it. It's called the Golden Chain. I thought that was fabulous. So that's all my little juicy points. I don't have anything else to add. I apologize if I'm talking too fast.
No, it was just great content and feedback, and just to chew it back a little bit. I love the way Brian talks about women just naturally care, and we really are about being of service, and not to say that some men aren't, but most men. They're from Mars and women are from Venus, and quite honestly, they are more the hunters and the gatherers, and they jump right to show me the money. So I think if you look at our industry, you see and understand more why so many women become so successful, because it's so natural for us to be of service to others. So I just love that. And I love that he Go ahead.
I get excited. What I also love is that he always emphasized that whatever talents we don't have and he's talking about, we can learn it. So, even if a man doesn't feel like, well, I don't have that kind of talent to share and be in that way with someone. These are all learned techniques, right?
Absolutely, and that's the whole point of all of the masters, whether it be Les Brown or Jim Rohn or Stephen Covey or John Maxwell. We all have within us the ability to acquire the skills. I mean, that's why we go to the trouble of all these calls, because we believe in you. But guess what? It's not enough until you believe in you, and then go out and practice, because like you said, Joe, the truth does not change. I love how you said that, because every one of the masters really teaches the same thing. They just come in different packages. And when you talked about the golden chain, this is something that most of us, including myself, don't do enough of. And I think when we ask for the referral and they're kind enough to recommend someone, as Brian said, there's nothing wrong in saying to this person, I so appreciate the referral. Would you mind texting them or calling them and alerting them that, Sandy's going to be calling them or Tessa's going to be calling them?
Yeah.
And I think this is also critical. The follow-up to that is to thank them for the referral the next day.
Yes.
Whether it be through a text message, a little text message, or you send them a little thank you greeting card, the free greeting cards, 1, 2, 3 greeting cards online. Just so you're so appreciated. Thank you for the referral, regardless of whether that referral turns out or not, one way or the other. But the person that gave you the referral is going to say, wow, this person is a real class act. And when they get into your autoresponders, hopefully you're using your autoresponders in your back office, and they start seeing the consistency of your follow-up, they're going to revisit and say, I've reconsidered, or tell me what else is new. And, of course, if you're following up as you should, there's always something new when it comes to Zango. And, of course, in September at the International Convention that's in Vegas, rumor has it, now I don't know for sure, but rumor has it, they might be launching another product. So, but I really don't know. I don't really know anything. I mean, not for sure. But little rumor. I'll know more in a few more weeks if I could keep prodding some people. So thank you again, Joe, so much for taking the time to share with us. I'm not sure. Thank you for all you do. And I'm not sure Rick made it to the call. And if he did, he'll chat me. He'll send me a message in the chat box. But I know my good friend Tessa is with us. And boy, do I remember meeting Tessa Greenspan on our first trip to St. Louis. And just, when somebody walks into the room, I'll never forget that she was wearing a red jacket. Obviously, red's her color because she's wearing red in the photograph as well. And I said to myself, boy, what a stunning woman. And she ended up sitting down next to me. So that was the beginning of our friendship. But let me tell you a little bit about Tessa. Again, just an amazing woman. Not only is she an entrepreneur and a speaker and a healthcare advocate, but she's the former owner of a farmer's market in St. Louis. And she's probably one of the most influential women in business in that area. Pretty impressive. She speaks publicly and focuses on inspiration, business topics, how to live a healthy lifestyle, and she even speaks to organizations and MBA students. She's obviously very involved with Zango and believes truly that a positive mental attitude, a winning, tenacious spirit, and a healthy body are the keys to success. And I think we will all agree that number one priority is our health. I mean, that's the only thing that we really control, because it is how we age is a choice. And this is one of especially once we pass 50 or past 60 or past 70, I mean, health really becomes number one. And she sponsored countless charitable causes, and she's collaborated with local schools and teacher programs. Just an amazing influencer as well as a role model. So she was, and I have to say this because she won an award in Washington, D.C., which is just amazing, out of 5,000 women as a nationwide successful businesswoman, and was also selected as one of the 25 most influential women in St. Louis by their business journal. The SBA also selected her as the Business Person of the Year, and also was one of the top 100 people in St. Louis you should know by the Small Business Monthly. And I could go on. But what we're going to do, Tessa, we're going to turn it over to you so that you can share your thoughts on what impressed you the most from these sessions with Brian Tracy. Over to you, Tessa.
Thank you so much, Sandy. That's so wonderful. And you are the role model, actually. And I want to say, Joe, you are absolutely terrific. I love your energy. And so that's what it's all about. That it's like-minded people that come into Zango. So it's wonderful to be connected to so many wonderful people. And Zango is absolutely life-changing to so many people. And getting back to this, the maximum selling strategies, and I wanted to just piggyback on Joe, that it's our ability to sell ourselves and our ideas will determine how high we rise and how much money we make. So it's really, you are doing this, and it's us working on ourselves. We are all works in progress, and the more we work on ourselves, the better we get. The more practice we do, the better we get. This is so important, and there's wanted to highlight on, Brian said there's three parts of selling. It's the prospecting and it's quantity determines the quality. So there are people who are not candidates, and this is something I had to learn. I was just sort of helping people, and they didn't want to be helped. So it was a learning lesson. Presenting and discussing your products or services. And the real mark of success is preparation. That's the key. And the follow-up, as you mentioned earlier, is absolutely the most important thing. And actually, they say that a sale is closed, and you just had a sheet up there that after the 5th call. So the first thing is establishing the rapport, and then there's 3 stages of the sale from the sales perspective. One of the other things that I think is really important is there's 2 questions that they ask, and that is, I think we've made a lot of progress. How would you like to proceed now? I love that statement. I think we've made a lot of, after you're into this and you're talking to them, and say that. And these are really a takeoff on Sandi. Sandi was teaching this. But I think we've made a lot of progress. How would you like to proceed now? And then you go from there. It's asking questions. The person that asks the most questions are the winners. And it's listening. This is what we don't do much of the time, is listen. That is so important. You know, and here are some things on developing rapport. How long have you been in this area? You know, where do you expect to be in 2 to 3 years? This is sort of an opening conversation that I thought was so important. You know, how will your needs be different? And what steps will you be taking to stay ahead of the curve? So it really helps people to discover their pain and something they may not have put much thought into, but you help them to start. And he was saying that there are 3 things. It's show, tell, and ask questions. And if we just make that a mantra, show, tell, ask questions. Show, tell, ask questions. And if you go from each one, it really is really good. And it's the first one is the recognition of needs, the evaluation of options, and then the resolution. Then a good question, and I love this, and I'm repeating myself, but is what would have to happen for you to go ahead? I love the way that they close, and this is really very much like Michael Oliver. But until we recognize their needs and evaluate the options, and then the resolution. And many people have this that the price is one of the major things. And I love the way that Brian says it, and he says keep its price in its place. First, need, desire, authority, and urgency. And when they say, well, how much is it? You know, he says just sort of sidestep that. And he says, that's a good question. Can we come back to that? And then ask, if they say anything about it, just say, why do you say that? And then say, well, why do you feel that way? And this is an important word, feel. Why do you feel that way? He was saying, you know, and I'm not saying not to say opinion, but, you know, between opinion and feel, people are going to connect with how they feel, which is more of an inner deep kind of thing. And so you can say, Mr. Prospect, is price your only concern? That is another fantastic question. Is price your only concern? Because that might not be. But, you know, we have this wonderful thing, you know, when you enroll 3, you get free. So that is something that we have to do it. But I don't think that we should do that too quick. It's learning what their concerns, what their pain is, or what their gain is, and then getting a commitment. And so you can say, why don't you give it a try? Or why don't you try to take it? Or if this makes sense to you, then the next step is, you know, and then you say, then the next step is we'll make a phone call and enroll you. And this is pure Sandi. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are we? And if they say 5 or 6, you know, then you can say, what would have to happen for you to be at a 10? And then they'll tell you. And then we can say, if we can take care of that, are you ready to move forward? I love this, by the way. It really is so important. And backing up to the referrals is one of the most important things. And I have not been really good on that. And it's my goal to be very, very conscious of it, is asking. You know, if it isn't for them, then who do you know that has such and such? Who do you know that would like an extra $500? Or who do you know that has health challenges? So it really is so important to get those referrals. And you're right. Thanking people for their time is so important. It's such a graciousness that if we don't do this, shame on us. Because a person has taken their time to help us, and that we don't take the time to thank them. In many ways, there are many cute things. You can give them a $5 Panera card, or you can, I love this little, buy a pack of seeds, get me not seeds, and send it in a card when you're prospecting, when you're just sort of following up. So, but price is the way, is much of the thing, and the more we can practice, I think, on price, the better off we're going to be. And really, it's all about relationships and following up and doing this. I have people that have remembered and are coming back to me now because somebody has a health challenge or their life has changed. So your statement, your PowerPoint on the sales, I think is so powerful, Sandi. It just really is so important for us to know. And one of the things that I feel is so important is the no. You know, people, the no is not about us. And I had to get over it. Now, I had a big business with 80 employees, and I was used to telling people what to do, and they did it. Well, when it came to the other side, when I suggested people do it, that people didn't do it. It was such a foreign language to me that people didn't do what they said. So I had to really work on myself to change that whole paradigm that no, it's not about me, first of all, and because I say something doesn't mean people's going to do it, and that people don't do what they say. So take that with a grain of salt, but follow up because people's circumstances change. You never know what's happening. You know, I know people now who are getting divorced and now have needs, and they didn't before. So it's really all about the follow-up and practice. And I love this. And thank you for all that you do, Sandi. It just is absolutely wonderful. And it's this and us sharing, I think, makes a major difference, too. So with that, you know, I could go on and on, but I won't. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tessa. It's no wonder you are so well respected professionally. And you're so right. I mean, the only thing in life we can be sure of is change. And, you know, I can so relate to being a business owner, giving people a job description with accountability. And if they didn't do it, they had a second chance. And if that didn't happen, guess what? Ed fired them. I hired, he fired. And like you, Tessa, when I came into network marketing, I told people they had to do specific things. And most of them didn't do it. And I couldn't fire them.
I know.
And Eddie kept saying, you can't help people who won't help themselves. And I said, well, this is crazy. You know, you don't have to have, you know, $500,000 in inventory or $1 million in receivables, and you don't have to have 6 trucks on the street. This is like a no-brainer. Don't people get it?
I know. I feel that way too.
You know, like you, I mean, it took me 3 years of banging my head against the wall, realizing that we can't help everybody. And I call it WWW, work with the willing. And when people claim they want to build a business, you know within 30 days if they're serious, because they're calling you. They've got questions. They got you on the phone for 3 ways. They want you to meet for coffee. I mean, you know very quickly whether you've got a sparkle. And, you know, it's interesting. Every time I listen to any of the masters, any of them, who's their audience? Who is their audience? The audience that they are attracted to are already the 5% who are already successful, reaching for the next rung in the ladder. They're not your typical people who are struggling, who never read, who never try to improve themselves either personally or professionally. They invest in education, continuous education. They invest in books. They invest in audios. Walk into $1 million house. One of the designated areas in any $1 million home is what, Tessa? The library.
The bookshelves. Yes. Yes.
Filled. I mean, It's like we had to go buy another bookcase because Eddie kept saying, stop buying all this stuff. Well, I got to have it. I have to read it.
You know what? I do too. I have to underline, highlight, and then go back and go back.
Absolutely, because repetition is still the key. But I think what I get every time I listen is that what applies to that small percentage of successful people in the world is also applying to those of us who are in network marketing and multi-level marketing, which I think is amazing because we don't typically in our business have a boss. We can do as much or as little as we choose. And guess what? Our income is directly proportionate to our skill level. So if you can remember when you were a no-K and you became a 1K, you knew a little bit more. You knew about nothing beats free, and you understood the I bonus, and you sort of understood how to get to 5K. You probably didn't understand how to get to 500K, but at least you understood that it was about building teams. And now with the new compensation plan, oh my gosh, if you can fog a mirror, so we can get the job done. And I loved your idea. I wrote it down about the forget-me-nots, or the forget-me-not seeds.
Yeah, the seeds, yes. And they're going to think about you every time the flowers come up.
What an image for people to say, how unique, how different, how special. This is somebody I want to stay connected to. So it's the little things that do the most important thing, which is solidify the relationship for long term. I mean, that's what I also thought was absolutely critical in these two sessions that we covered this month of March. So thank you again, Tessa. We so love your contribution, and hopefully you're going to be a regular on our call.
I will, yes.
Good. Now, good, honey. Now, what I'm going to do is try to do a quick summary of some of my ahas. So my next slide, hopefully everybody can see, this is something I really had to struggle with when I first came into this profession, the true difference between the features and the benefits. And I think you hit on it, or maybe Joe hit on it, about emotion. People make decisions emotionally, not logically. And one of you said, how they feel about something. And that word feel is probably the most powerful word that you can say. And I remember being at a meeting and this young woman comes up to me and I said, so what is your why? What do you really want to accomplish over the next few years? And she said, I really want to be a stay-at-home mom. I have to drop my 8-month-old baby off to a daycare every single day. I said, really? And I hesitated. Brian talked about the pause, the powerful pause. And I hesitated. And I said, oh my, how does that make you feel that you have to drop your baby off for somebody else to take care of and you miss your baby's first steps? She started crying. She started crying. So we talk about pain versus gain, features versus benefits. You need to know the why. If you don't have that why solidified, that they've verbalized, you're not yet there with getting them to see the vehicle that looks at the features that are going to get them to solve their problem. And that's what we are. We are problem solvers. And those of you who know my business card, it says Sandi Cohen, P.S., and besides Ed's name, it says Ed Cohen, RPA. So, very few. I've been using this P.S. for maybe 16 years, and I don't think 16 people in 16 years ever asked me, what does PS stand for? But we are problem solvers. We are helping people find a solution to their pain. But they have to acknowledge their pain. They have to verbalize it. And, of course, you, as independent business owners, must have your why written down. Do you remember my 4 questions? I sure hope you do, because I repeat them often enough. What do you want? Why do you want it? What are the consequences if you don't get it? And what are you willing to sacrifice to get the job done? And, I love Mr. Google, and I found out today that you really can't go to Mr. Google and capture all of these images without the fear of intellectual property lawsuits or something. Oh, but guess what? I can't resist. So I love this image here. People are either looking for gain and happiness, and that could be different for everyone. And they are more than likely wanting to remove the fear of loss, the fear of doubt. So where are you in balance, okay? Are you optimistic that you are going to make this work, or are you so focused on not making it work? Because the mind is powerful, and it will give you anything that you think about. And Tessa talked about my question. And I asked this question pretty early on in a conversation. I don't wait to the end. And, I say, Tessa, I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of information that may or may not be something that you might want to pursue. But may I ask you a question up front? Because you want to know up front, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how serious are you about finding something that you can be passionate about and create long-term recurring royalty income working from home, and be mentored by a team who has helped to create over 100 millionaires and over 40 multi-millionaires? Where do you see yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest? And then, if they say I'm a 6 or a 7, or say, okay, well, we're going to get you quite a bit of information, and I'm going to ask the question again. And if we're not yet at a 9 or a 10, you're going to tell me, what do I need to do to help you get to the 10 so I can help you create what you're looking for? And then at some point when we're having conversations, I'd say something like, what would it be worth to you to be personally mentored by a team of successful, active, either $1 million earners or multi-million-dollar earners? What would that be worth to you to be personally mentored by them? And obviously I'm alluding to Zango University. And you know what the answer is in the chat box? If you know what that answer is, almost every single time. Let me see who puts it in the chat box first. What would it be? What would it mean to you to be mentored by a team of successful entrepreneurs who've helped hundreds, if not thousands of others earn income? And the answer they usually give me is priceless. It would be priceless. So your questions are the critical factor in being in control. You have to keep digging and digging and digging, just like the detective Columbo. Because if you don't ask the questions, you'll never move forward. And you always need to say, what would have to happen for you to be comfortable to move ahead? Is there any reason you wouldn't want to at least try the product? I mean, that's pretty simple, right? But the key is, if you are sincere, you have eye-to-eye contact, You've made the right impression. You are building not short-term relationships, but relationships that will last a lifetime. And I found this image that I thought was interesting about word of mouth, which is obviously what we do. Because we don't spend money on advertising, and a lot of people think that, social media is the way to go. Let me just tell you something. I've been doing social media for 3 years. April is going to be 3 years. And that is a long, hard, slow road. And as you see on this graph, 59% of people come on board because of face-to-face or voice-to-voice or doing a Skype call. There is nothing better than what we used to call belly-to-belly. So when you're speaking with people, just remember they're coming with old baggage, old thoughts, old wounds. I mean, for goodness sakes, Eddie and I were in 11 companies before Zango. Do you think we have some wounds that are still bleeding and scarred from being lied to, companies that closed down, people that didn't pay us or stole our checks or terminate us? But did that stop me from knowing where I wanted to go? So, yes, we all have past experiences, but how you deal with those past experiences will make the difference to where you're going. Because if you take all those past experiences and say, okay, what was my learning lesson from that past experience that might have been negative? Because, stuff happens. Not everything is the ideal situation. But if you can find something positive that you learned from that past experience, that gives you the confidence to reduce your risk perception. Because I got to tell you, if you truly believe and you acquire the skills and the knowledge and the training that we offer through the university, you will not fail. I just don't have a crystal ball when you're going to reach your goals. But as long as you do something every single day, even if it's just, 30 minutes listening to an audio or watching a video or reading 20 pages in a book, that all gives you the confidence and the mindset that you will achieve your goals. And I love this old model of selling versus the new model of selling, because I was in sales, when I had my medical and surgical supply business. The rapport was 10%. It was just getting through the gatekeeper to get to the decision maker who could use our services and our products. And, of course, most of the time was spent on the close why they needed to use my products, because nobody paid for the stuff I was providing. It was all third-party insurance. So I really had to do an amazing job of presenting and closing. What we do here, and I think that's why Tessa and I had to shift with our mindset, because what we do in this new model of what they call relationship selling is not about hiring and firing people. It's truly about building trust, building relationships, understand their pain. And if you've gone through anything similar to their pain, it's one thing to imagine what they might feel like versus what you, like I know what it feels like not to pay the electric bill and the phone bill at the end of the month. I remember those days, and I don't even know how we got through that and still remain married. But when you understand how someone is feeling and you're sincerely in pain with them and letting them know, I think we've got a solution. I think we have a solution that we can move forward. Are you ready to set up your wholesale account? Are you ready to make a commitment and at least let's set up your business entity? So there's a way to move them forward gently without saying your pen or mine, like the old way. And remember, everything counts. Absolutely everything that you say, that you do, how you look, everything counts. And it's always about the next step, regardless of where you are. It's a dance. It's a journey. And even once they make the decision to purchase, you're not done. What's the next step? Follow up. Did the order come all right? Do they understand how to take the product? Call me back in 2 days and let me know, if you've noticed anything. But I often say, and I'm really big on health being a priority. Do we both agree that health is a priority, right? But is there any reason you wouldn't want to experience the product? It's always about the next step, and we can set up your wholesale account now, or if you see yourself as a business builder, then we can begin your mentorship training immediately to achieve your goals. And I always end, fair enough. I love that. I learned that years ago when I was in sales. Fair enough. And there's always an action item at the end of our calls. This is really, really important. So one of the things I want you to do is go to our Facebook group, and it's facebook.com/groups MMMFT. It used to stand for Mentoring with Millionaires Mastermind Fast Track. And I don't even know how to change that last little tag. Mark is on the call. Maybe he can tell me how to do it. Otherwise, we're going to just keep it as Mentoring with Millionaires Mastermind Fast Track, and go in and make sure you request to be a part of the group, and try to post there frequently. Anything that you asked for a referral today. Let us all cheer you on for doing that. And we were talking about Dress for Success on one of our previous calls, and I'm going to hound this like crazy, because as Brian teaches, you have 4 seconds to make a first impression. And I'll tell you what, and I told you this before, what I look at, the 2 things I look at first: shoes and briefcase, or in a woman's case, a handbag. So if your shoes are scuffed, especially women, the back of your heels when you're driving a car, and even though it's really not bad, it gives the wrong image. I mean, this is something that drives me crazy. And men, even if you have to have 1 pair of shoes that are expensive and you only use for when you're going to be in front of other people, you must look at the shoes close to your face, look close to your eyes, and make sure there are no scuff marks whatsoever. Okay? I mean, that I want everybody the rest of this month to look at the shoes they're wearing and put in the Facebook group whether you've gotten them fixed or polished. Okay. Now, there's a song that's called Say Yes to Success. And, I'm going to see if it'll play real quick right now, just for the heck of it. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'm going to put it in our shared Facebook group. But I'm now curious, if I'm sharing my screen, whether you can see the words and hear the music. So put in the chat box yes or no. Okay, so some people are saying the sound's not good, but you can see the words. And when I go to my Apple class on Friday, I'll find out if there's a way to play it on Meeting Burner. But what I would like you to do for the rest of this month, I want you to, the call to action is to catch yourself asking the right question. Catch yourself in conversations with people and say, wow, I did that. I did ask the right question. And then every time you're going to modify it or tweak it, put it in the Facebook group so we can all learn by what you're doing as well. Now, I wanted to give a little announcement about our April curriculum. It's Eddie's birthday. It's Eddie's birthday in April, and April 1st is a Wednesday, so his birthday is actually on the 15th. So we've got show tickets and we've got dinner arrangements. So we're going to have the April call on Wednesday the 22nd, and we're going to be doing part 7, which is persuasion and negotiation and influencing skills, as well as part 8, success and self-motivation. I also would like you to check out, if you have not yet, a giftfromus.com/demo site if you're not already a member. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate at all to email me at sandy@sandyandedcohen.com. Now, that's sandyanded.com. For whatever reason, when we set up our server, I was sending messages out, but I was not receiving anything. So if you'd be so kind as to just send me an email to sandy@sandyanded.com, I'll just reply back, got it, just so that I can do a massive test that it's actually working. All right, that was a little bit about the homework. And, of course, don't miss Saturday's call where Kali will be going over some of the new innovative tech tools with a gift from us. And if you've noticed on the university itself, we're doing a massive upgrade, phase 2. You are going to be blown away. And we should have it ready in 6 weeks. Now, we all know if there's some programmers on the call, I don't mean to offend you. However, we have been working with programmers now forever. And I think I finally have a team of programmers who are going to keep to their deadline. But we will definitely keep you abreast of what's going on. So what I'd like to do is close with one of my favorite authors, Dr. Seuss, because I think that if you remember reading Dr. Seuss to your kids, such words of wisdom. So we're going to close with 5 lessons in life. Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. Why fit in when you were born to stand out? You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. Be who you are and say what you feel, but those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Today I shall behave as if this is the day I will be remembered. So treat others like you would like to be treated. And yes, I would like you every single day to repeat these words. I've got a millionaire mind. I've got a millionaire mind with emotion and feeling. I've got a millionaire mind. And you get louder and louder. I've got a millionaire mind, and I say yes. I say yes to success. Can you do that? And even in the our Facebook group, even if you just do it once, I've got a millionaire mind, just so I know you're actually doing and engaging and chipping away at that subconscious mind that's been holding you back. So with that, we love you all and looking forward to applauding your success.